Yum, yum!
Jump cut. Ed and Greg are back from dinner. Great dinner with Shane from Foundry. Treated us to a really nice restaurant. We were very underdressed for.
Yeah.
I felt kind of bad about that, but didn't know it was going to be that nice. Anyway, so what we have here, that is the mid-range Blackmagic DaVinci control panel. So it's actually really cool, but that one's like $3,000, I think, or $2 or $3,000. Let me just hit play here. But you know, their giant desk-sized one was like $30,000.
Oh wow!
So it's been a number of years. They finally released these. There have been some third-party ones, and I know some of the third-party ones worked with Moto with
Channel Chimp.
Channel Champ, yeah, Channel Champ. And so the trackballs and stuff like that, which I thought were really cool. And I actually asked them about this because here's the $1,000 one. And by the way, this thing is actually really nice. Like a lot of these are sort of cheapy and plastic. Those are like milled aluminum balls. It's super heavy. It feels like it's like a really quality product. And I was asking him, like, is there some sort of API to this or something? And he's like, no. It just works with DaVinci. It's all DaVinci specific things, and they're not going to open it up. It doesn't even work with Fusion yet. But man,
So you can't play any like of those old school golf arcade games where you just
no, yeah. What was that? Yeah, there was the Marble Madness. Remember that one?
Oh yeah, Marble Madness. Yeah.
The,
isometric view.
Right. Nope, none of that. Just works with the color correction, but that's all right. I kind of asked them. I was trying to press them a little bit about having a professional grade monitor. Actually, this is. I'm gonna pause it real quick. This is Unreal Engine, which we'll get to in a second. I didn't do a whole lot there. We'll try to go there tomorrow. But you know, Blackmagic really has the bases covered in terms of input-output hardware, and it has, of course, DaVinci and now Fusion, and it has a bunch of cameras, and it has control panels, but they don't have a color, a 10-bit color monitor, 10-bit panel that you use for color correction. Which seems like it makes sense to like have a complete package from Blackmagic, and they're real cagey about it. I was trying to press them on it, and they just, my guess is they'll probably have one, but they're going to admit it, just not to me.
Right, yeah, if they're cagey, that's a good indicator that
they're cagey. Yeah, I can't say or I'll be fired. Okay, so this is the infamous Star Wars real-time demo that Nvidia showed with their, I think it was they're called the RTX rendering API. So essentially a real-time ray tracing solution that integrated Unreal Engine, and Unreal Engine integrated their API into Unreal. Now, it's not doing full-blown path tracing, so I'm pretty sure it's doing ambient occlusion, and it's doing some reflections, and but it's just blending that with the rest of the sort of rasterized image. And I actually, so there's a bunch of people watching this. I was holding up the camera playing this one. It's actually really cool. And I asked if this was playing in real time or if they're just playing a video. So I wanted to know if there was hardware there. Kind of got the feeling they were just playing a video.
Right.
Not actually showing a real-time thing. But I thought this was a pretty mind-blowing demo. If you can imagine this thing playing a game. This few years, and it is just really cool. Imagine that in VR.
Now, the Turing GPU that they just demoed today.
And so I actually do show a little bit of that. We'll run over to Nvidia in a minute. We talked to a guy over there a bit. And so yeah, Turing, it sounds like, so we have Pascal is the current, like 1080 Ti, that's a Pascal. And then Volta is the current Titan. Volta is their top-of-the-line next-gen Volta, but it seems like that was aimed more at the AI industry. And even though it does really well on graphics benchmarks, I mean, she's really cool, actually. Like this one, like this is like facial capture and this level of realism, like coming to games.
It's getting close.
Just like freaky. Yeah. Can you imagine, like whatever, playing Witcher 3 and you get that?
Yeah.
coming in. Anyway, so yeah, apparently they just sort of leapfrogged Volta and went straight to Turing. And so that sounds like it might be, you know, Nvidia, it's hard to tell because they're a little full of hyperbole sometimes. And I would say something, this is twice as fast as the previous generation. And you start actually rendering, it's like, that's okay, it's faster, but it's like a little bit faster. Oh, this is Meg. So we'll get back to Nvidia in a minute because I go over to their booth in a second. But so I haven't seen the Meg. I want to see the Meg. I actually do a lot of shark animations for the Monterey Bay Aquarium. Just did a bunch of great white shark animations. Elliot Sharp helped me out, the expert moto modeler.
Cool.
I think we're on Destiny now. But this is the muscle simulation software. Was it Zinc or Z? Sort of the Z.
I'm not sure. I haven't had a chance to see this.
I think it panned down in a second. Anyway, so they used it for Megalodon. They used it for the Meg. and he said they just lowered the price by half. So it's just a Maya only plugin.
Okay.
But it's a volumetric muscle simulation software. It's really the best thing in the market. And,
Yeah, that's great.
So the guy says you basically hook up your muscles to bones and give them some properties, run the simulation. The simulation will then deform a skin. That's crazy. And the simulation will deform the skin, and then you bake that out to like an Olympic file. And now this was, there's
really quickly,
lion.
do your best Jason Statham saying Megalodon.
Right. Let me try. I don't know if I can do it. Statham. You're the actor.
God, this
it's a megalodon.
Exactly.
So this caught my eye because one of the first character animations I did was with a software a long time ago called Project Messiah, which was a lightweight plugin. And because I have a company called Sabretooth Productions, I did there's the Meg again.
Yeah.
Apparently eating it right away, maybe? I don't know. It's pretty fun. That ship would not be doing well.
No way.
That's a great white. That's the biggest great white ever, too. I mean, I don't. But going back to the lion, I did a Sabretooth animated like that in Project Messiah. Now watching this muscle simulated one is just sort of, I'm going to actually go back to that in a little bit because that was crazy cool. Actually push it on the timeline here and take a look. So there's our thrashing before that. Yeah, so here's the lion. And so you're essentially setting up the muscle simulation software. It calculates everything volumetrically. You can even divide up the calculations between multiple computers. In a sort of hacky kind of way, we can do that. And then, but he says it's fast. You can get he said several frames per second instead of several seconds per frame.
Mm-hmm.
So basically you can start the simulation, watch a YouTube video, come back, and it's kind of done. He's like, yep. Mm-hmm. And so here it is. He's got some indie license for this as well. So people who use Maya have an indie studio, and it's probably like $100,000 cutoff or something, kind of like Substance.
Sure.
But that's smart to do to get this stuff in the hands of indie people, so people can learn how to use it. And it can actually be used for more than just muscle simulation. They had some other videos up there of just some soft body dynamics, like food and other weird things. It's basically any sort of closed volume that needs muscle or any sort of jiggly simulation. It can do it. And Ziva,
there it is.
Zinc is the render cloud. Ziva, okay. And I talked to these guys for quite a while. Maybe we'll try to go back there and live stream tomorrow. But
it's super cool.
I think it's awesome. You don't need a skeleton that detailed for the actual skeleton that you attach the muscles to. That one just looks really cool. You could have sticks. But, okay, this is me wandering around. Oh, Qt, right. I just thought it was funny. There's an entire booth dedicated to like a Python programming interface or something. Siggraph. Oh, back at the Foundry, there was a big boom demo reel going on, and I'm not even sure who that guy is. But we'll spend a lot of time at the Foundry tomorrow, so we didn't want to spend too much time at the Foundry today. But Foundry had the loudest booth at Siggraph. I will tell you that. I think it was the biggest screen, so they're definitely noticeable. And the most crowded bar, I think, afterwards.
Unfortunately, the bar is the only thing that I've seen on the exhibition floor so far.
Oh, the bar, not a bad thing to see. Okay, so this is a GPU fluid simulation software plugin for Nuke, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, wow.
So it's doing this GPU gases and clouds and fluids, but it's a Nuke plugin.
Interesting.
So maybe we can talk to them and say, where's the Moto? Because
let's track them down tomorrow.
We would definitely like a GPU fluid. I mean, look at that. I mean, who wouldn't want to just kind of play around and make something like that? I thought that was super cool. And,
is this Eddie?
Eddie, yeah. It's the Eddie one. You know about this?
Yeah, I briefly saw this before.
Yeah, so they have all kinds of there's some cool stuff there. And they're just right next to Foundry. Okay, so Otoy, I went over and talked to Octane. They have Octane 4 going on. And this guy, I just kind of sneak up. I pushed that old guy out of the way. Shove him down. I sneak up there and talk to this guy in just a second. But they've got Octane 4 running. Just in Octane proper. He's not using a plugin like in Moto or Maya. And I talked to online, if you go to the Otoy forums, in the Moto section, Face Off, the Moto dev, Paul Canane is there, and he's really involved, so he'll answer questions and everything else. He's got a couple more weeks, I think, before Octane 4 is out. But this is, I don't know if we could push in on this later, or maybe we'll go back tomorrow. This guy said come in live stream tomorrow. But he's showing so he's blending between, this is not noise reduced. Let me just kind of put back up there, because he's blending between noise reduction, no noise reduction. You let this render for 30 seconds, and that's what it looked like after 30 seconds. And then he turned on their new AI noise reducing algorithm, and that's what it looked like.
Wow.
And you can actually blend it back and forth between the two.
Mm-hmm.
We basically pushed a button and it turned on after 30 seconds, and all the variation went away, and it was just left with this smooth image. It was pretty. I mean, I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm. So how's that different from like optics? Do you have any idea? Like
that is a great question, and I do not know that because
we should go find out tomorrow.
Find out tomorrow because I think optics. Let me just talk about Octane a little more because I think people are interested in that. I've used optics, and actually, I'm not sure. I've used the V-Ray denoiser, and I've had some issues with it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's optics based. That was a scene where I had it was like a pond, and so you had a reflective surface with but it was also transparent, so there was stuff underneath, and the noise reduction sort of obliterated it. But the V-Ray noise reduction I've also used with subsurface scattering materials, and it worked great, and it really saved a lot of time in rendering. It was sort of a cellular animation with a lot of subsurface scattering on these cells, and the V-Ray did a great job with it. I think the new V-Ray does use optics, and I think NVIDIA's optics is also uses machine learning to improve the algorithm over time, which I don't understand.
No,
I don't get the principle. I get the principle behind machine learning, but I don't understand how this is used with noise reduction.
Right.
And so the Octane one uses machine learning as well, but obviously it's probably a different algorithm or a different set of learning tools because they're not licensing it from Nvidia, which Chaos and everybody else seems to be doing with optics. So I don't know. It's damn fast. And he actually said he said right now it's a toddler. By next year it'll be like a college student or something. It's like basically it's like be super faster. And I said that was really creepy. I understand what's going on here, and like it's Skynet basically. But so there's a lot of this going on at Siggraph, right? You walk around the floor and you see a lot of this kind of thing. OptiTrack. So OptiTrack, they have an Oculus on there. They've got a backpack, and they have all the trackers up above. And basically, what the guy is telling me is they're more for the large the part of VR that's working right now that people are making money off right now is sort of the large format entertainment. So there's like a Disney World type thing or whatever, some mall where you have multiple people at once, and they need to scale. So like Vive hardware or Oculus hardware is not going to work. Use the motion tracking hardware from these guys, and you can prevent occlusion because it's all up above, and they've got like almost unlimited cameras you can add versus just 2 or 3 trackers, and they've got trackers on the people. And you see the other avatars in VR space, so people don't wander around and bump into each other. They just avoid each other. But the main thing is, I was kind of asking the guy, so is this just what's going on? Is VR happening or not? And he's like, well, I think we've seen the run up and sort of hype, and then we hit the dip and weeded out a lot of ideas and companies that weren't working, and now we're starting to roll back up. And we're sort of coming out of that lower curve right now. And he's seeing they're making sales, so they're selling the hardware. Doing some stuff. At the Moto Innovation modeling seminar earlier today, a lot of those guys used VR.
Yeah.
Hank, you'll see these videos later, but Hank used VR for his stuff when he was actually just previewing giant 3D printed animals. They got in VR and saw how big they were in real life and
right,
stuff
because
like that.
Those 3D prints would cost thousands of dollars. Or like
you can't. They had like a 14-foot corgi dog that it was 3D printed.
So before investing a lot of money, you want to see what it looks like.
So he's hedging against screwing up the thing. So they brought, let's just say, fuck mocap. That's a shirt. Okay. That's funny. He's the guy selling mocap. No, wait. Yeah, he's the guy putting on a thing. Oh, they're all okay. They're all like guys working there.
It says Puck mocap.
Oh, Puck mocap.
Yeah. So Puck must be the name of like
right. I said fuck mocap.
Sensor.
That's kind of a weird thing for the optic people to be wearing. Fuck mocap.
It's a strange angle.
Buy our thing. Yeah, right. Unity giant booth. All I did was film their thing and walked away because I didn't have time. We will get to Unity tomorrow. Unity had a number of pipeline announcements, I think. And of course, I've used Unity on a number of projects. Have you used Unity?
I haven't. No, I've downloaded it and tinkered, but haven't used it.
So I've used a number of exhibit type things. And so here's another VR thing. You can see the cameras up there. This guy is shooting zombies. This was just a little bit surreal. We're all watching this guy shoot zombies. There's the zombies.
Right. Oh,
and we're all sort of, I don't know, passively engaged in this sort of thing. And he didn't seem to know clearly anybody was there because he's wearing goggles and he doesn't really look scared or excited. He's just kind of
Yeah, it's kind of funny, isn't it? It's like
mowing down zombies with all the enthusiasm of like a janitor. So this just annoyed me. 8K production workflow. Fuck you. Come on. Like, we haven't even gotten 4K down yet. Okay, Clarice, we will go back there tomorrow. Very interesting software. It's being used for it's become a high-end tool, really, for scene layout and concepts and previs. And they had nice bullet buttons, which I helped myself to here in a second. But Clarice has always seemed fascinating to me. I've downloaded the demo probably a half dozen times. I've never actually gotten anywhere with it. I just don't have time. But it's sort of a fascinating. It's sort of like all kinds of crazy replicator type stuff here I'm just doing with their buttons.
Does these are PackWhack.
PackWhack does a lot of cool stuff in Clarice, and yeah, it seems like the software, if you're going to make a forest, or something like that, or a lot of replication, it's super fast. It's all CPU as well, which is sort of weird. It's all CPU based, although it's really so I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing it pretty well. This is Nvidia's booth. Oh, also that girl, she was like 6'4", just walked by right there. That's why I turned my camera back on. I was like, wait a minute, she seems out of place here. But okay, so this is some of their real-time rendering stuff, and so what's the name of the newest with a Turing chip? But it's RTX.
RTX, I believe. I could have that wrong.
Yeah, I think it's right. So this is a Spider-Man asset from one of the recent films, and they've got Maya there on a touch screen. I just want to make a note. Like, even on a 42-inch monitor, you still can't get anything efficient out of Hypershade. And this is why the shader tree is so nice. I mean, you can barely work on that on a 42-inch. I mean, you still can't tell what's what on that giant screen. I'm just saying. Anyway, I hate shading in Maya, and that's why. Even on the giant screen, they had to move Hypershade to the full screen just to see what's going on in there. Anyway, so the compactness of the modal layout, I think, is really great for shading. But yeah, so this is using the new, I think this is a 12 gigabyte, essentially Quadro card. I'm not sure what they're going to be going for. They did not showcase their consumer cards, so nothing reminiscent of a 1080 update.
Right.
So an 1180.
You're not talking about the Turing, are you?
No.
Okay.
So I don't know what, I hadn't had a chance to talk to these guys that much. So I'm not sure if these are Turing or Volta, but they're certainly their high-end cards, and they definitely wanted to sell their high-end cards.
Right.
Everybody came around to talk to them. They're talking about these. And of course, in the back of my head, I'm just thinking, let me just back up. So this is, go back to Nvidia here. Yeah, they really seemed intent on focusing on their high-end cards, even though really the users we're talking to here, and whatever we use, GeForce cards, or maybe some Titans. But even the Titans, I used to use Titans in my machines, and then at some point, with 1080 Ti versus the Titans, you're really only giving up about, I think 3 gigs of RAM or something like that. You're not giving up much, and it's half the price. And so I have dual 1080s in mine, 1080 Ti's in mine at work, and I just don't know why you're going to dish out for these. I mean,
for just a couple gigs.
Right. Here's my fear. I think NVIDIA may do what they used to do with Quadro cards, and they would do a software driver thing where some of their APIs, maybe like the real-time ray tracing, they would lock the lower-end cards, GeForces out of those, and you had to get a Quadro or something if you wanted that. It used to be things like line anti-aliasing and stuff like that, and like a Maya, if you wanted your wireframes anti-aliased, maybe the Quadro.
Oh, wow.
Exact same hardware, it's just a driver. And it's sort of shitty sort of thing that you see. Hopefully they're not doing that. But it was cool. This was Arnold. The guy was, this was the Spider-Man. And they're using it was a GPU Arnold, which is, they've been sort of hinting at for a while and showing little bits of. So this is Arnold and GPU. I've got mine Arnold back at Sabertooth. I never use it.
Really?
Never use it. Play around with it a little bit. I know Arnold does character as well, which means it does skin, hair, and cloth quite well, and it's fairly fast. I understand, but Arnold's speed reputation came as a CPU renderer. Well, that was a few years ago. Now, if you get in front of Octane on some high-powered GPUs, it's like incredibly fast. But now Arnold's going to GPU as well. We're going to go to a V-Ray event tomorrow. We'll hear a little bit about V-Ray. Next, I really want to get somebody to talk about V-Ray next for Moto. I know they've got a Maya beta going. I think a Max beta going. I think it announced a Houdini beta. So And I know some of that stuff's being developed. Some of the UI stuff is being developed on Modo, so some of the screens they're working with there. So hopefully get some information on that. And yeah, this is kind of a long video for day one. I don't know. Anything else, Ed? It's late.
I don't think so. They had these really good maple syrup mints.
Maple syrup mints. I haven't had those yet. Yeah. Yum, yum.
Yep.
Okay.
Yum, yum.